Hello, crypto boys and ghouls. Welcome back to the channel, Tales from the Cryptmancer, where we feature content on play-to-earn games on the blockchain, such as Splinterlands. And today I just want to do a quick video on a topic. I'm not sure if it's been covered by anyone else in the YouTube community at this point, so I just want to put out a quick video on it. And it's talking about Guild Brawls and what it might mean moving forward with the introduction of SPS reward pools being added to this part of the game. Now, specifically, we haven't necessarily seen bots or bot farms in guilds or creating guilds or participating in guild brawls. Now, why is that the case? Well, the case was there was no reason for bots or bot farmers to either join guilds or create their own guilds because, well, the rewards weren't, well, meaningful. The gladiator cards and merits that you can earn were all soul-bound, and they would add no monetary value to bot farmers, which is why we don't see bots in the guild areas. But moving forward with the introduction of SPS rewards in brawls, well, I would say that the prediction of bot farmers moving into guilds is probably quite likely. Now, before you downvote this video and everyone gets in a little bit of a tit for tat on the comments, and I don't care if you're pro bot or anti bot. It doesn't really matter to me. I just want to create this video just to have you think about the topic, because it does have some ramifications to real human players, which obviously is the audience here that I'm talking to. So basically, the takeaway here is that bot farmers will likely come into guilds. They'll likely create their own guild farms, basically. And why is that? Well, right now you can create a guild. I believe the cost is 10,000 DEC, which is roughly $5. And to be eligible for brawls in a guild, it's also a $10,000 DEC payment for upgrades to the arena, to get an arena to be able to participate in Tier 1 brawls. Now, why would bot farmers spend 20,000 DEC, or roughly $10, to create a guild? Well, they already have accounts, right, that they can automate. And they can likely create software that fills these level 1 arenas and guilds with their own bots with starter cards. And by the way, there's no penalty for using starter cards in Guild Brawls currently. So they could freely use starter cards, not have to rent anything, and participate in Guild Brawls and get access to Tier 1 at a minimum guild rewards for SPS moving forward. So why wouldn't they do that? It's a minimal investment. They already have the accounts. They don't need to invest in cards, and they're going to get eligible for each one of those accounts to win SPS. So that's basically the summary of why bot farmers would start guild farms and start farming brawls. And now the next question, if you realize that that's probably what's going to happen, is what does that mean for you as a human player? Well, probably not much, honestly, except that you might run into some pretty easy wins in your brawls if you're fighting in the maybe Tier 1 level, and maybe higher. It might be such that the bot farmers realize that it's advantageous for them to invest in DEC and build buildings in their guilds to get access to higher SPS rewards in the guild arenas. Maybe they go to Tier 2 and spend the DEC to get there, because the reward pool makes it such that, if they have, let's say, 13 accounts in a Tier 2 brawl, and all those 13 accounts are earning SPS frequently, maybe it makes sense for them to spend the DEC and make those guild farms. I don't know. We'll have to see how the math works out and how the reward pools are distributed. But basically, the only impact it might have, and we'll have to monitor this moving forward, will be if you are in, let's say, a guild tier level where there's a lot of bot farms or now guild farms, you may get, again, reduced SPS rewards because of that. Well, why? Well, because the SPS reward pools are fixed for brawl tier levels, is what we have come to understand. It hasn't been officially revealed what the breakdown or percentage of the SPS allocation on a monthly basis will be to each tier level. But if all of a sudden, let's say you had 100 guilds in a tier as just an arbitrary number, and now you have, let's say, 200 guilds moving forward because 100 guild farms are created, well, now your rewards are essentially halved because of the bot farms coming into guilds. Now, that might seem bad at first because you're getting reduced rewards, perhaps coming from the pool, but it does two things. One, it incentivizes guilds, human guilds, to get higher than bot guilds and go into pools where there are probably less bots and more rewards. And that was good for the game because, well, it burns more DEC out of the ecosystem, which in turn in the future will reduce the supply of DEC, and with the DEC to SPS burning mechanic should make SPS more valuable in the long run. So is it a problem long term that bot farms come into guilds and start guild farming? Probably not, because they're going to, in theory, burn up a bunch of DEC to create guild and guild buildings moving forward. That will take DEC out of the market and ultimately add value to SPS by doing so. The challenge is what's the equilibrium? Because by also burning that DEC, they're now earning SPS rewards. And that puts also downward sell pressure on SPS again because, well, bot farmers will probably take that SPS and likely sell that rather than reinvest it in the game. So again, it becomes, in a little bit of an interesting data analysis on, is this better overall for the game because we reduced DEC supply, but now we have a higher burn on SPS? I don't know. I think we'll have to see the data because in reality, the SPS rewards for guilds have already been predetermined. They're a fixed amount, right? Because unlike DEC rewards for ranked battles that really had an unlimited supply, well, we have a limited supply of SPS allocated each month for Guild Brawl rewards. And it just means that maybe less would go to human players overall long term, but it necessarily wouldn't be a drain on the overall SPS value. So we'll have to see how it all works out. Another thing to consider is that we won't have the ability to monitor the blockchain for any potential exploitative behavior that bot farms or guild farms in the future may introduce, just because, well, as far as I know, the guild battles are only visible to participants in that brawl. So they're not really per se, I think, visible on the general blockchain. If anyone out there in the audience knows and has specific blockchain data or searchable data for Guild Brawl battles, let me know. But that could be one thing, because in reality, we found a lot of bot farming exploitative behavior in the past just because it's publicly visible on the blockchain where everyone can see the ranked battle data. For things like tournaments and for Guild Brawls, I don't know if all of that is publicly available for us to identify. So, that could be one thing that, not to say there's any nefarious behavior that would happen in a Guild Brawl between guild or bot farms necessarily, but just to note that our ability as a community to monitor that and kind of somewhat police that as a community might be limited moving forward. So just keep that in mind. Now, we also do have a Brawlhalla, I think, meeting this Friday with Weirdbeard. So if you have any questions around SPS reward pools or anything like that, make sure you gather those questions and, bring them to the town hall for guilds and brawls coming up this Friday. Weirdbeard is excellent with the community and talking to the community and listening to the community. So if you do have any questions, make sure you join that this Friday, and hopefully, we'll get any answers that you have and get any questions that you like get asked at that time as well. One of the things that might be interesting to see if Weirdbeard has considered is implementing some of the ranked battle reward changes recently in the game and implementing those into the brawls. For example, a simple fix to maybe encourage bot farms to rent cards or own cards would be just to say, hey, if you want to get SPS rewards from your brawls, you need to have the same I guess, implications of starter cards enforced, meaning if you use all starter cards for all of your Brawl teams, well, then you get 0% SPS rewards for participating in that Brawl. And if you either own or rent your cards, you then get the requisite percentages of the ownership or rentals on your SPS rewards for participation in that Brawl. Again, that seems like, I don't know if it would be coded already to start with Guild Brawls, but something to look at as a suggestion for Weirdbeard and the team to consider, because again, if guild farms become a thing, you again want to enforce the same behaviors and I guess rules that you'd have in the ranked battle rewards, where bots have to comply with as well. And that means that they should rent or own cards in order to earn rewards like human players. So there you have it, just a quick summary of what you might want to consider as it pertains to Guild Brawls moving forward with the introduction of these rewards. Some suggestions on things that we might want to suggest as a community to make sure it's an even playing field for humans and bots moving forward, because as we all know, I mean, bots aren't going anywhere. They're here in the game. We just need to make it such that the rules are basically creating an equal playing field for bots and humans alike. So there you have it. Hopefully everyone is enjoying this season of Splinterlands. We'll see you in the game. And until next time, keep stacking those stats.
That's